Okay, Earth Explorers, we're just waiting for the affiliates to connect. We've got one or two more we're waiting on. Hang on 1 second here. Slide down here and click on this one so we can get Foxhole loaded up. We'll be in great shape. Okay, Foxhole's loaded up. Everybody's good to go. It looks like all the affiliates are connected. The chat room is live. It doesn't look like Rumble's connected yet. Having trouble with Rumble, and we're having trouble with Facebook. Well, no problem. We've got to go live now, so here we go. We're bringing in the studio.
Time for open canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
We did not engage in conflict that was out of line with our mission.
Is it disloyalty? Is it treason to oppose the hands of tyranny? Never!
I will never send troops anywhere on a mission of that kind without telling them that if somebody shoots at them, they can darn well shoot back.
I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty! Oh, give me death!
A dark cloud is finally lifting across the world as U.S. military intelligence and global partners are destroying the deep state criminal power structure that has ruled over our planet for hundreds of years.
We are free with the God, and we shall not yield to any power on earth.
Hi, I'm Scott McKay. World is that? I am your host on The Tipping Point on Revolution Radio, where every Monday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, we bring you the latest in doing takedown of this global criminal empire.
That's an image of strength.
You'll get the raw, hard truth here on The Tipping Point. So come join us Mondays, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Go feed at revolution.radio.
This is the people's war. It's our war. We are the fighters. Fight it then. Fight it with all that is in us. And may God defend the right.
Warning! Warning!
We gotta stop them! They're gonna kill us all! See how the trouble you've started? Be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or human beings. Time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it. Right, you tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Revolution Radio.
Here we go, hour one. And greetings, Earth Explorers. Welcome to X Squared Radio. I'm your host, Brooks Agnew, coming to you live from an undisclosed location east of the Appalachian Mountains. We are streaming to you live on Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com. This is where the past meets the future, and here the results are always positive. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We are also streaming live on, hopefully, Rumble, Facebook, Twitch, DLive, Twitter, Foxhole, and YouTube at the moment. And all the YouTubes are being archived on Odyssey. So we are in the process of moving. It's moving week, I guess, moving month. We're going to be moving our archives from YouTube to Rumble. We are in the process of putting some technicians in place. This is a very long and very arduous job to download these videos, upload these videos. It takes hours and hours and hours every day, but we want to get this content into Rumble so that it is protected in case YouTube should happen to go out of business, which it's in the process of doing. Yes, Rumble is great. I believe it. And now we're spending the money to make sure that it happens. It's going to cost a few $1,000s to get this done, but it's well worth it because the content is great and it needs to be listened to. And we are so tired of Google violating our civil rights by censoring free speech. So we're going to have one introductory story tonight. And then we're going to say bye-bye to YouTube. And then we're going to encourage you, if you're listening on YouTube, to go to one of these other fine free speech platforms that are listed right below. All of them are free. All of them are open. All of them are unfettered. They're not censored like Google censors YouTube. We hate it because Google at one time had a very, very good platform, and they are hell-bent on going out of business, and so we're going to let them go out all by themselves. First story tonight is on CryptoChromes. It's interesting. I love these scientific stories. Seeing our world through the eyes of a migratory bird would be a rather spooky experience. Something about, a bird's visual system. Because it's a much faster world and it has a different perspective than ours, and they have a way of navigation that we have long marveled about. They could see, it appears, our Earth's magnetic field. And the reason I'm bringing this story up is because that magnetic field's also connected to us. We have this symbiotic relationship with planet Earth. We've never been able to explain it, but now it seems as though we have some evidence. It's a clever trick of quantum physics and biochemistry that helps them navigate vast distances or areas that they haven't seen before. In early 2021, scientists from the University of Tokyo announced they had, for the very first time ever, directly observed a key reaction hypothesized to be behind birds and many other creatures' talent for sensing the direction of Earth's poles. And a lot of people have a strange sense of direction as well. Importantly, this is evidence of quantum physics directly affecting a biochemical reaction in a cell, something we've long hypothesized, but we haven't been able to see it in action before. So they used a tailor-made microscope sensitive to faint flashes of light. And the team watched a culture of human cells containing a special light-sensitive material respond dynamically to changes in a magnetic field. And it's quite fascinating to see. The change the researchers observed in this lab matched what would be expected if a quirky quantum effect was responsible for the illuminating reaction. Jonathan Woodward, who is the biophysicist in this study, says, we've not modified or added anything to these cells. There's no special dye. There's no special bioluminescent chemical, nothing. These cells are just the way they are. We think we have extremely strong evidence, he said, that we've observed a purely quantum mechanical process affecting chemical activity at the cellular level. So, and this opens a lot of questions, and I'm going to bring it up to you, and we'll talk about it in the chat room a little bit, but how are cells, particularly human cells, capable of responding to magnetic fields? While there are several hypotheses out there, many researchers with the ability think the ability is due to a unique quantum reaction involving photoreceptors called CryptoChromes. Yes, CryptoChromes are found in the cells of many species and are involved in regulating circadian rhythms. In species of migratory birds, dogs, fish, other creatures, they're linked to the mysterious ability to sense magnetic fields. In fact, while most of us can't see magnetic fields, human cells definitely contain CryptoChromes. And there's evidence that even though it's not conscious, humans are actually still capable of detecting Earth's magnetism. It leads us to believe that we've been Earthlings for a long time. And were we taken off this planet, that disconnection with Earth's magnetism could be very disruptive to our biophysics, to our physiology, and it could even be fatal. We don't know. To see the reaction within CryptoChromes in action, the researchers bathed a culture of human cells containing CryptoChromes in blue light, causing them to fluoresce weakly. Now, as they glowed, the team swept magnetic fields of various frequencies repeatedly over the cells. They found that each time the magnetic field passed over the cells, their fluorescence dipped around 3.5%, enough to show a direct reaction. Now, how can a magnetic field affect a photoreceptor? It all comes down to something called spin, right? When we're talking about light, typically, or color, typically we're talking about a function called stereochemistry. Stereochemistry is sort of the 3D way of looking at the compounds that make up a molecule or a complex of molecules. And so each of these molecules, each of these atoms have clouds of electrons around them. And all those electrons, the spins of those electrons have to add up to be zero. It's called the Pauli exclusion principle. Some spin minus half, some spin plus a half, but it all adds up to be zero. It's a balanced equation. And we already know that spin is significantly affected by magnetic fields. Of course, that's how we electromagnetically flip them in the lab. We arrange electrons in the right way around an atom and collect enough of them together in one place, and the resulting mass of material can be made to move using nothing more than a weak magnetic field like the one that surrounds our planet. Now, it's all well and good if you want to make a needle, like for a compass or something, float on a cork in a dish of water. But with no obvious signs of magnetically sensitive chunks of, metal or material inside the pigeon's skulls, there's no, metal needle in the skull of a pigeon. Physicists had to think much smaller on the quantum level. In 1975, a Max Planck Institute researcher whose name was Klaus Schulten, he developed a theory on how magnetic fields could influence chemical reactions. If you've read if you read the Birth Trilogy, you understand Kyle Kramer's magnetized nitrous oxide, right? The special power that it gives the dual turbocharged Dodge Challenger, and of course the G5 jet that escapes the missiles. It's just a little action, a little, not a spoiler, but something to make you think about reading the trilogies. It's something called a radical pair. Okay, a garden variety radical is an electron in the outer shell of an atom that isn't partnered with a second electron. It's just out there floating. It's ready to react with something. We call it a free radical. It's just out there. And sometimes these bachelor electrons, they can adopt a kind of wingman in another atom to form a radical pair. The two stay unpaired, but thanks to a shared history, are considered entangled, which in quantum terms means their spin will eerily correspond no matter how far apart they are. Now, since this correlation can't be explained by ongoing physical connections, this is purely quantum activity. This is like esoteric quantum activity. They call it spooky action at a distance. In the chaos, the hustle bustle of a living cell now, their entanglement is going to be momentary, fleeting, in fact. But even these briefly correlating spins are going to last long enough to make a subtle difference in the way their respective parent atoms behave. So, in the experiment, as the magnetic field passed over the cells, the corresponding dip in fluorescence suggests that the stereochemistry, the arrangement of those atoms, the release of photons, the generation of radical pairs had been affected. An interesting consequence of the research could be in how even weak magnetic fields could indirectly affect other biological processes. You know, I wear this bracelet right here, and inside the bracelet, I can't open the bottom of it, but inside the bracelet are magnets all the way around the inside, and they are against my skin. And I can't tell you the benefits of it, but I can tell you that the presence of a magnet or a magnetic ring through which all the blood in your body will eventually travel is going to have an effect on it. And for my testimony, it's a positive effect. Those of you out there wearing, magnetic ankle bracelets, no, not the ones that locate you for law enforcement, but the ones you can buy. And they make these that are a little wider than this, that have 2 rows of magnets, and they're even more powerful. And of course, birds aren't the only animal that rely on magnetosphere for direction. All kinds of fish and worms and insects like butterflies, other mammals, they have a knack for it. And they know where they're going. They don't need landmarks. They just go off the flux lines of the earth lined up with their bodies. Now it turns out even we humans might be cognitively affected by Earth's faint magnetic field. Not that we move around like schools of fish, but individually we have some alignment with the planet. Kind of means that, if the planet is putting off some magnetic distress signal, maybe some people are picking up on that. And likewise, if the planet is putting off some kind of peaceful hum or, what do you call it? The Schumann resonance reaches a certain frequency that resonates with you, you might actually feel a state of bliss or a state of peace. Even this ability could have delivered a number of vastly different actions based on different physics. Having evidence that at least one of them connects the weirdest of the quantum world with the behavior of a living thing is enough to force us to wonder what other bits of biology arise from the spooky depths of fundamental physics. And keep in mind that we are also individually, because we're sentient beings, not very many types of sentient beings on this planet, maybe whales and dolphins and humans, and that's it. We can consciously manipulate our biofield. We can make our biofield very positive or very negative, very intense or very mellow. We can coordinate our magnetic fields one with another, and we can have powerful effects as a group, or we can participate in chaotic events that are rather destructive and ill-coordinated. We can also, I think, share, that's probably not the right word I'm looking for. We can stimulate one another with just the energy of our hearts, just the energy that we can put off. And we don't have to be physically like right next to each other to make this happen. I know a lot of you are already doing this. You know it because you have your smartphone with you. And when you feel it, sometimes you just pick up the phone and text that person with whom you've had this golden connection, this spark. And they could be all the way around the planet. And lo and behold, at that very moment, the other person has picked up their phone at the same time, and the texts fly back and forth as though you're sitting across the kitchen table from one another. It's a connection. It's a quantum connection. It's spooky action at a distance, yes, but it is a resonant frequency between people. And it turns out that there's a layer of cells in a human body. They're called the glial cells. They're not very well known, but it's a network. It's not a specific type of cell like, epithelial cells or epidermis cells. It's just an energy level, an energy layer, let's put it that way, that's underneath the skin. And when you get close to another being whose glial cells are matching your charge or attracting your charge, or for that matter, repelling your charge, you could feel it. You can feel it. There's an automatic connection between the two of you. And you really don't have to be like touching arms or anything like that, although that can be quite electric. And, it can be kind of disappointing too. You may anticipate this great blind date or whatever, and then you have the kiss, and then you hold hands, and he's like, there's nothing. There's nothing. It's like holding on to your sister. Like, ew. Yeah, I know. It's like cold spaghetti. Okay, but there are others that, for some reason, this spark is very alive. I'm saying that we are as much an energy being as we are a being of flesh. And now this new experiment that's been done and this measurement that's been done of the light, the actual light that is affected by the human body's and just ordinary cells' interaction with Earth's magnetic field is quite enlightening, very enlightening. I enjoy it very much. So let me just touch base with the chat room really quick. Wow, there's a lot of people out there. YouTube has a whole bunch of people. We have about 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we hate to do this. But the time has come for the YouTube stream to be terminated because we're about to pass into an area of very high information, valuable information, and we know that this kind of information, from experience, YouTube has an allergic reaction to it. So we're going to sign off of YouTube now and give you plenty of warning. There's these great free speech platforms right down here at the bottom. There's Twitch, which is great. There's DLive, which is awesome. You can participate in cryptocurrency. There's Foxhole, which has a great faceplate and also its own cryptocurrency, and we'll be feeding some of that out to you. So we will say goodbye to YouTube now, and we will see YouTube again on Sunday. So bye-bye, YouTube.